Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 42 of the Drop It Weight Loss Wellness Wisdom podcast. If it's your first time on the podcast, welcome. I'm your host, Nick Geoppo, and 5 years ago, I lost 110 pounds after a lifetime of losing weight and gaining it back every single year. I make this podcast for people that are fat as fuck right now, that think they should be losing weight. I also make this podcast for people that are on their weight loss journey right now. And I also make this podcast for those of you that have already achieved your weight loss results, but are just looking to fill your mind with some healthy things that are going to help you actually sustain the lifestyle changes that you've made for life. So wherever you are on that spectrum, these episodes are tailor-made just for you. Welcome. Today we're talking about, and I'm going to tell you the story about how I cured my own depression through permanent, sustainable, and natural weight loss. It's funny, right? Growing up, we don't really know what depression is. I think kids nowadays, they have more language for it than my generation did, or probably than your generation did as well. But growing up, nobody was ever talking about depression or anxiety. And when there was, one or two sad kids, we kind of thought, I wonder what's going on with that kid. I wonder if they're depressed, but we don't really have the language. We don't really know, is this a clinical thing? Are they on medication? We don't have any of the knowledge of any of this shit when we're young, right? And my experience with depression, I would say, started in my younger 20s. So I graduated from high school at 18. And I went off to college. That's when I gained weight for the first time. I gained, 40 or 50 pounds that school year. And then summer came around after my freshman year. I was 19 and I lost about 60 pounds. Sophomore year, I gained about 60 pounds. Summer after that, I lost 60 to 70 pounds. Junior year, gained 50 to 60. And it's just the cycle continued for all 5 years that I was in college. And the times when I felt the best were when I was actively on the weight loss journey, and then about the 1 week to 3 weeks after I had hit my weight loss goal. So that's when I was living my best life. That's when I felt really confident. That's when I was making just a great conversationalist. I was just feeling good about everything. This energy was eluding off of me, and it was contagious. People wanted to be around me. Women wanted to talk to me and were looking at me differently because I was presenting differently, because I looked different, I was acting different, and I was just more fun to be around. I was better to be around in the time that I was losing weight and the few weeks after I hit my weight loss goal, and I just felt amazing. And then every year for 5 years, this cycle, through the cycle of gaining weight and then feeling like shit and then stopping believing in myself, losing my confidence, not liking what I looked like in the mirror, not feeling confident naked, not wanting to talk to women, not wanting to go out and do anything, not wanting to hang out with my friends because I felt like shit all the time, and I knew that other people were seeing that I gained weight. And then I just would say fuck it, and then I would stop brushing my hair, and then I would stop making my bed. And then I would start watching more Netflix, start drinking more booze, because what else? It's just my life, man. It's just who I am, and I'll figure it out, another time. And this is a reality that a lot of people live in. And what I was experiencing were spouts of depression, sadness, anxiety, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. Just spouts of my life fucking sucked for 8 to 9 months per year. And when I turned 23, so after I'd graduated from college, I did 5 years in school. I didn't have a summer to lose weight. I just went straight to work. So I was up to about 245 pounds, and I went to work. Instead of doing my 60 to 70 pound weight loss summer, I just kept gaining weight. And I was working this job that I hated, 50 to 60 hours a week. I was watching a shit ton of Netflix, wasting my life on things like video games, smoking weed, drinking a bunch of booze. And I had a girlfriend who I shouldn't have been in a relationship with. She wasn't somebody that I really loved like that. I was with her for a couple years, and we just didn't have a healthy foundation. Everything was not We were not future looking at all. And we put years of time into this relationship. And it just felt like the most fucked up thing is I'm in this relationship thinking like, I don't know what else I'm going to do, right? Because I'm this fat guy with no hobbies that feels like shit, that looks like shit, that maybe am I depressed? Maybe I'm depressed. I don't really know what depression is. Do I have anxiety? I don't really know. And then you start thinking about all these negative things. And you're like, I don't even want to be with this girl. What do I do? If I leave her, then I'm going to be lonely. Oh my God. And it's like, there are a lot of people are in that situation, right? People are in marriage situations that they don't even want to be in, but there's just so much fear in leaving that it's like, what the fuck else are you going to do? Or you have kids with someone, so how can you leave? Because the kids, but I don't want to be in this relationship, and it can create a lot of questioning, a lot of hating the situation that you're in, a lot of shame around feeling negative, a lot of shame around wanting to leave, and just all of these feelings for me that I'm just drowning out through bullshit, and then working this job that I hate, and then every single other hour eating like shit, never cooking home cooked meals one time for a single year, only eating out. I ate out twice per day, sometimes 3 times per day. And that was my life, man. I hated everything. And the moment when everything changed for me was I went into work. We had a 7:30 a.m. meeting every day. I got into work at 7:25, and I'm just looking around at everybody all around me, and I'm seeing people 5 to 20 years older than me, and everybody's fat. Everybody's got big bags under their eyes. Everyone's bitching about the traffic. And this guy from India called me last night, and he fucking spam caller and blah, blah, and I'm just, whoa. This is my life. This is my fucking life, man. How fucking sad. How the fuck did I get here? And I laid down on the floor because my heart started beating out of my eyes, and I thought I was going to pass out. So I laid down on the floor and started hyperventilating. Thought that I was having a heart attack. And I have family members that have had heart attacks at very young ages. So in my head, holy fuck, I'm having a heart attack, which makes sense because my chest is starting to hurt all the time, and my body hurts, and I can't even walk up a staircase without gasping for breath, and that would make sense. And in my head, I'm like, wow, this is it, man. I might die right here at 24 years old, laying on the floor next to all of my coworkers in a cubicle on like a Tuesday. And I started unbuttoning my shirt, and I've just got my big ass gut hanging out. There's a literal rip in the crotch of my pants, and I remember laying there with my shirt unbuttoned, thinking everybody can see the rip in the crotch of my pants. And my boss goes to call 911 because I'm yelling, I'm having a heart attack. We could say the 7:30 meeting got postponed a couple minutes. And I just realized that I wasn't, and that I just needed a second to myself. So I just left work and drove home, and I'm talking to my family and come to the conclusion that I should probably go to the doctor. So I go to see my doctor that same day. I got an appointment, and my doctor is, how's life? How do you feel? And I'm, trauma dumping on him. Oh man, I hate my job. Yeah, man, I don't know what I'm going to do in this relationship. I drink booze. I smoke weed. I play video games. I watch Netflix, and I'm wasting my life. I'm watching porn. I'm doing all this like just stupid shit, right? Just completely wasting my life for nothing. I don't know what I'm even doing here. What am I? And I was just at the point where it's like, I wasn't suicidal, but I just didn't really care about living. It's not that I wanted to die. It's that I didn't want to live. And that's a really different thing, right? I just didn't seem like I had a reason to live. Because as I'm looking around at all these other depressed people, these sad people that are just bitching about everything, and I'm going, oh my, I don't want this, but I don't know what am I going to do, And my doctor, who is maybe 350 or 400 pounds, looks at me and goes, yeah, well, you're experiencing depression and anxiety. And the reason why you're obese is because you have depression and anxiety. So we're going to give you this medication. The next time that your chest hurts, just take one of these pills. And the pills were Xanax. And I'll never forget what it says on the bottle. It says, take twice daily as needed for anxiety. So now I've got this language, right? I have anxiety, guys. The reason why shit's all fucked up is because I have anxiety. And I go home that night, take one of these Xanax, and I just pass out. I was eating Rolos, like the caramel chocolate candies, and I woke up and they were smeared all over my chest and all stuck in my chest hair and all over the bed. I remember laughing. I thought it was funny. It's sad that at that time I thought that was funny instead of that being an issue. And the next morning I called into work, and I think I'm feeling a little bit of that, that anxiety again, just that dread of like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. And took another Xanax, and I did that for 2 days. And on the third day, I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I looked like shit. I looked like the most like shit I've ever looked. And I looked strung out after 2 or 3 days of just taking Xanax. And I pulled out, I just had this moment of like, this is going to be my entire life. Because now I'm starting to feel like, oh, I really like these Xanax pills. And I'm feeling like a little bit of urges to take more of them coming on. And it's the same thing that I felt with food. It's the same thing I felt with Netflix or video games or all these other booze at different times, alcohol, it's all these different things. And I zoomed out. It's the first time in my life where I ever zoomed out from what I was feeling and what was actually happening. I just objectively looked at my life like from a camera's view or from the view of fucking God or whoever the fuck you want to call it. And I just thought, what is actually happening? Like, fuck how I feel for a second. What are the patterns that are actually happening? And it was like I saw my life from a camera's view in the corner of the room from a third-party perspective. And I pulled out my camera and I looked in the mirror. I was shirtless. I was just so bloated. And I said, today's April 29th, 2019. Here's what I weigh. I got on the scale. I weighed 274.4 pounds. And then I went upstairs and I started doing a bunch of research, and I just pulled out my phone again. I said, I'm going to lose 75 pounds in 6 months. And that was really the start of everything, of, my relationship ending, of me moving, of me leaving my job, of me spending a lot of time alone, working on losing weight for me instead of for other people. And I didn't want to have any outside influences. And I dumped all the Xanax down the drain, down the toilet, flushed them, never had another pill. And I stopped what happened was I started identifying as somebody that was sad and somebody that was depressed and somebody that was anxious. So as soon as I got those pills, I went, oh, I have depression and anxiety. As soon as I felt the permission to tell myself that I have anxiety and depression, I was just like, oh, great. I just gave myself permission to just start taking pills. And that makes sense. Now I can be fat and lazy and not worry about it because I'm depressed. And it doesn't matter whether or not that is true. It doesn't matter whether or not that's true because it's not a productive frame. What we're trying to do here, and what I did subconsciously, I didn't know what I was doing. Somewhere deep down I must have, but this wasn't a conscious thought. I recognized that I didn't want to be fat and feel like shit anymore. And I felt that the pills made me stop feeling like shit. But I also felt somewhere deep down inside that they gave me permission to just not take care of myself. And what I really actually wanted was to be healthy and confident. And I knew that pills were not a path for me feeling confident or good. They were a path for me feeling nothing. Because when you take Xanax, you don't feel shit at all. It just numbs you. I didn't want to feel numb. I wanted to feel alive. And I knew what it felt like to feel alive because I'd lost weight so many times before. And as I lost weight this time, I just knew it was going to be different. And I pulled out my phone and said, I've never been so certain I'm going to lose this weight. I've never been so certain I'm going to achieve my goals. And there were times where that didn't feel true. Maybe 10% of the time that felt true, but every single time it did, I would video myself and then go and reference my own motivation and my own inspiration whenever I felt like not doing things, right? Whenever I felt like eating like shit. And through this journey of losing weight, I just started feeling so much better. And I just stopped believing in my own depression, and I've got a brain imbalance, guys. I got to take these pills because my brain imbalance and my hormones are fucked up and the chemicals in my brain. These are like things I was saying, right? Well, the depression, the brain imbalance. Like, the reality is, do you know what affects your brain balance, chemicals and hormones, the food that you fucking eat, like the things that you put into your body, you know? And I just started saying to myself, do I actually benefit from even believing in my own depression? Like, we're looking at depression as this thing that just, you know, you just got it or you don't. You're just born with it or you're not born with it. But like, if you're depressed, the most powerful thing you can do is just say, fuck this. I don't even believe in the concept of depression. Like, the best thing you can do if you're depressed is live life as if you're not depressed. That's just what I started doing. I was sad as fuck. I hated my life. And I just said, I'm just going to live life like I love it, even though I don't. I'm just going to live 6 months like I love my life. If I loved my life, what would I do? If I wasn't sad or depressed or anxious, what would I do? And then I did that. And then I stopped feeling sad, depressed, and anxious, and I never did again. Now it's been 5 or 6 years, and I never did again. I never went back to being the mopey guy, never went back to being the fat guy, never went back to any of this shit that my doctor put me on pills to cure. I cured it myself, and I cured it through losing weight, not because there was less fat on my body, but because I believed in myself. And I felt good about myself because I said I was going to do something, and then I did the thing. When you say you're going to do something, and then you actually do it, and you actually follow through, it gives you this light, this energy, this fucking just contagious, that I own my world. I'm in control of my own reality. Do you know what you're not in control of? Oh man, I'm depressed. I'm depressed. You can't control your reality if you're just surrendering to depression and just accepting that you're some depressed, anxious person. Depressed and anxious people can still get up and go on a walk in the morning. I was one. Depressed and anxious people can still make healthy choices with food. And when you do that consistently, you're going to feel better. You just are. You are. And it's not in your own benefit to even believe in your own depression. It's not even in your own benefit to believe that depression is just this thing that comes from the fucking sky, and we have no control over how we feel, and we have no control over the paths of our lives, and the reason that things are fucked up is because my brain imbalance. Like, that was really where I lived in my head. And that got me nothing. Nobody even cared. Nobody even cared. Like, my very immediate friends and family, sure. But nobody else cares. And it's sad, you know, but you know, if you're a man, you know who especially doesn't care? Women. If you are a depressed and fat and anxious and overweight person, like, that's not what people desire for partnership. And it's not. And you have the control to step out of that. You got to crack the whip on yourself for a second and meet yourself with compassion. It's not your fault that you're fat. It's not your fault that you had negative programming when you were a kid, that you grew up in a household of parents that ate like shit, didn't teach you about nutrition, or you were bullied, or you had a really traumatic experience that you haven't learned how to work through, or you don't even know. Something happened to you and you don't even remember what it is, but you can feel that something bad happened, and it's sad. And it's led to you feeling depressed. It's led to you feeling anxious. It's led to all of these negative emotions that we've been using food to hide from, that we've been using Xanax or antidepressants to hide from. Look, I'm not saying stop taking pills. If you're taking pills, talk to your doctor. But understand that whether you're taking pills or not, the best thing you can fucking do to make yourself feel better is live the life of somebody that felt better. If you're fat, the best thing you can do to lose weight is live the life of someone that isn't fat. If you're sad, the best thing you can do is do the things that you would do if you weren't sad, because you're going to cure your own sadness. We have so much control over our own lives that we have been led to believe. We have so much more control over how we feel than we have been led to believe. You can do extraordinary things. You can be an ordinary person and do extraordinary things by snapping your fucking finger and giving yourself permission to do something even though you don't feel like it. Through doing the thing, it's going to change how you fucking feel. You're not motivated? I'm not motivated enough to go on a walk. Go on the walk and watch how motivated you become as you're walking. Like, we have it backwards. You don't have to feel good to do something. You have to do something to feel good. You just have to find a way to win the micro moments in the decisions of choosing to do something or not do something. And the way to do that is to zoom out and look at your life from a camera's perspective. I'm at a barbecue, man, they've got pizza, chicken, blah, blah, and then they've got fruit, and they've got some meat over here, and they've got some other healthy options. What are you going to eat? Look at your life from a camera's view. If someone was watching you from a camera and they knew you were on a weight loss journey, what would they recommend you eat? Like, forget how you feel for 1 second, because after you eat the healthy foods, you're going to feel amazing. You're not going to look back on the barbecue and go, I wish I ate another cheeseburger. I wish I ate another hot dog or more chips. No, you're only going to regret eating a bunch of bullshit. You're never going to regret making healthy choices. No depressed person, including myself, has ever regretted making a healthy choice. No anxious person, including myself, has ever regretted living one day as if they didn't have anxiety or depression. It's going to do nothing besides make you feel better. It's not. And this is it's a tough topic. It's a tough topic to talk about because there's so many different things that make people feel negative emotions, depression, anxiety, sadness. And this goes so far to where people don't want to be alive. Like they don't want to be alive, or people want to physically end their lives, right? This can completely ruin your life. The number one thing that kids die from in the United States is suicide. How fucking crazy is that? It's suicide. And that's sad. It's our responsibility as adults, if you're a young adult like myself, as parents or future parents like myself, to do this work on ourselves so that our kids that we have now or our kids that we're going to have in the future, we can teach them the tools on how to regulate their own emotions and how to regulate their own bodies. It starts with regulating your body. If you have just years of obesity, a lifetime of obesity the way that I did, and you're not addressing it, then you have an unhealthy mindset. You're more prone to depression. You're more prone to anxiety when you're overweight. Look up the data on the correlation between obesity and depression. If doctors said to people that were obese and depressed, you can cure your own depression through weight loss, people would be pissed off. But a couple people would take that seriously, and they would lose weight, and then they would start feeling better. And when you start feeling better, this is really what happens, right? If you're fat and depressed, or fat and sad, or fat and anxious, the way that I was, as you start to eat healthier food, you're going to have more energy. When you have more energy, the dread that you feel right now around doing the dishes, the dread that you feel around sweeping the floor, the dread that you feel around the laundry, the dread that you feel around socializing with other people, the dread that you feel around going to work becomes like 5% less, maybe 10% less. And that starts to compound over time. And then things become a little bit less dreadful, and then you start sleeping better, and you start sleeping more consistently. And then you look a little bit less tired. Now your skin looks better. You're starting to lose some weight. You smile a little more. You're a little bit more confident. Other people start treating you better. You feel good because other people are treating you better. I forgot that I was this depressed and anxious person. Where'd the depression go? Where'd the and then you just look, and then you just, people are like, wow, you look good, but they're not necessarily talking about your weight. They're talking about this aura that's coming off of you, this vibe, this vibration. Vibe is short for vibration that's coming off of you that other people are feeling, and they want to be around it. Now you're getting invited out to do things. Now your kids are responding more positively to you. Now you want to have more sex, and you're having better sex and more sex with your partner or whatever that looks like, or whoever you're having sex with. And now you have options for more sexual partners if you're single. And now you feel better because other people are looking at you more positively. And everything is, whoa, I believe that I'm the guy. I believe that I'm the girl. I believe that I have control over my own reality, and depression cannot stop me. I refuse to believe that I'm depressed. I refuse to believe that I'm anxious. I don't care what the doctor says. I don't care what the doctor says. I refuse for this to be the rest of my life. I refuse to be this way in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. I refuse. I'm not giving myself the option to continue living like this. This is something that I have to do. This is something that I need to do. This is not something that I should do. This is something that I have to do. I no longer have an option. I no longer have the choice. The same way that I have to pay my rent. When your fucking rent is due and you don't have the money, what are you going to do? You're going to find a way to get the money. You're going to go drive for Uber Eats. You're going to call a friend and say, Hey, I need you to loan. You're going to find a way to pay the rent no matter what, because it is a standard in your life. Standards get met. Wants do not get met. Make it a standard in your life that you live a healthy lifestyle regardless of how you feel. And you will start feeling better. I fucking promise that you will. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. It is not easy, but it is not complicated. You absolutely have what it takes to lose weight. You absolutely have what it takes to feel better. You absolutely have what it takes to look in the mirror, butt-ass naked, and fucking smile and mean it and not have it be an exercise of trying to love yourself. You have what it takes to actually develop real, true self-love and self-respect. Close your fucking eyes and imagine a world where you're having sex in front of a mirror. Close your eyes and imagine a world where you get out of the shower and see yourself naked and you actually feel really proud of what you feel like and you look like and the progress that you made and the fact that you did this thing that all the doctors said you're going to need meds for. That everyone said, no one really lives. Everybody gains, though I'm just a fat guy. I'm just a fat guy. It's just the way that things are. You can just decide for that not to be your reality. There's no fucking magic pill. No Xanax is going to save you. No antidepressants are going to save you. They just numb you the same way that food does. The same way that people that are dealing with food addiction or binge eating or emotional eating, we use pills to hide from the same fucking thing. It's the exact same issue. It's the exact same issue. The answer is not in numbing yourself from the thing. It's in addressing the thing. Man, I'm depressed because I don't have any friends. Let me take these pills. Okay. What if objectively we just asked, why don't you have any friends? Well, I don't have any friends because I, don't really put myself in social situations because I have anxiety. Okay. How can we work through that? By exposure therapy. Not by jumping into a crowd and trying to be some cool guy and then just having such a panic attack that you freak out. By exposure therapy. Take this lesson that I'm walking you through and apply it to every single area of life, including food. The sustainable way to do anything is exposure therapy. I have anxiety. I can't talk to other people because I get anxious, because I'm insecure. Because I'm lonely. I'm lonely because I have this anxiety, and that makes me depressed because I'm isolated, and humans aren't meant to be isolated. We're social creatures, so I just kind of hide behind food, and now I'm depressed and I take pills. And I don't know what to do. Here's what to do. Practice talking to people. Go on a walk in the morning and say good every day for a week. Just say good morning to a stranger. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Whatever that looks like, right? And then every single day, the week after that, ask someone a question on your morning walk. Hi, how are you? Good morning, how are you? Good morning, how are you? Practice your tonality. Learn how to speak. Learn how to look. The next week, practice looking someone in the eye for 5 seconds when you talk to them without looking away. Over the course of time, if you did this for 2 or 3 months, you're going to have these social skills where you're going to be a lot more comfortable with people. You're going to start experiencing a little bit less anxiety around other people. Over the course of a few months into a year, you're going to start making some friends. Then you're going to start feeling less lonely. And then you're going to start feeling less depressed. You just cured your own depression by addressing the thing that led to you being depressed. The same thing goes with food and weight loss. As soon as you give up control and you say, I don't have what it takes, then you don't have what it takes. You've got to find a way to step into positive action even when you're anxious and depressed and sad. Life can be so good. Life can be so much better than you ever imagined it could be. And you are the only person that can create that life for yourself. Nobody else is coming. You have to be the one to grab life by the balls or the horns or by the heart, whatever resonates with you the most, and decide that you are going to live the lifestyle that you actually want to live today. If you made it to the end of this podcast episode, I greatly appreciate you being here. If you resonate with this message, my story, and you're finding this sort of information, useful for your own life. The best thing you can do to support me as a creator and as a storyteller and as a sustainable weight loss coach is to leave a review, either on Spotify, Apple, Podbean, or any other platform, anywhere from 1 to 5 stars. Leaving a review really helps me to get this podcast out to other people such as yourself that really benefit from listening to it. I hope that everyone has a great rest of your week. You absolutely have what it takes. You deserve health, and you deserve to feel good in your own body. See you next week.